The Appalachian woods swallowed sound, a frigid hush broken only by the crunch of tires on frost-crusted dirt. Nora's breath fogged the Jeep's window as she pressed her forehead against the glass, her thin sweater no match for the November chill, seeping through Route 25's last stretch near Asheville, North Carolina. The sky bled gray, amber streaks dying behind skeletal trees. Her mother, Evelyn, gripped the wheel, her jaw clenched so tight Nora could hear her teeth grind. No radio, no cell signal, just the engine's low growl and the weight of Evelyn's silence, heavy as the rifle Nora once saw her clean with cold precision. Mom, where are we going? Nora's voice was small, conditioned to tiptoe around Evelyn's moods. Her wheelchair, folded in the back, rattled faintly. No answer. Evelyn's knuckles whitened. Nora's stomach twisted, but she swallowed the urge to ask again. Comfort was a privilege she'd learned not to expect. Not since the accident at 12 that stole her legs and carved her into the family's burden. The Jeep veered onto a hidden dirt path, branches scraping the sides like claws. Nora's pulse quickened. A surprise, Evelyn had said back at their Asheville colonial, her smile sharp as broken glass. Now the path ended in a clearing, the Blue Ridge Mountains looming like silent judges. Evelyn killed the engine, stepped out, and yanked open Nora's door. Cold air bit Nora's skin as Evelyn hauled her from the seat, her grip bruising. Nora's legs, useless, dragged across the ground. A duffel bag thudded beside her, spilling a water bottle and a scarf. Lila's scarf, the one Nora clung to during Evelyn's rages. Mom, what? Nora's words choked off as Evelyn loomed over her, eyes glittering with something darker than anger. I'll come back when you stop making everything about you, Evelyn spat, each word a blade. She turned, boots crunching, and climbed into the Jeep. Nora's hands scrabbled in the dirt, pain lancing her spine as she tried to crawl. Mom, please. Her voice cracked, swallowed by the woods. Taillights flared red, then vanished, leaving only the echo of gravel and Nora's ragged sobs. She was alone, disabled, abandoned, and sprawled on the freezing forest floor, miles from the last gas station on Route 25, a shell with a flickering neon sign she'd memorized as their final tether to civilization. Her fingers, numb, clutched Lila's scarf, its faint lavender scent a cruel reminder of her sister's smirk during Evelyn's tirades. Nora dragged herself toward a rotting hunting blind, its splintered boards offering meager shelter. Each inch was agony, her spine screaming, her ankle twisting under her weight. She collapsed inside, curling into herself, the scarf pressed to her face, the woods pressed closer, their silence a living thing. A twig snapped. Nora froze, heart hammering. An animal? A bear? The Nantahala National Forest wasn't kind to strays. Black bears roamed these ridges, and cougars, though rare, had been sighted near Pisgah. Her breath hitched as she strained to listen. Nothing. Then a muffled cough, unmistakably human. Her vision blurred, exhaustion pulling her under. She passed out, the scarf slipping from her fingers. Darkness cloaked the woods when Nora woke, her body aching, the blind's damp wood reeking of mold. The cough echoed in her mind. Was it real? She fumbled for the duffel, finding only a half-empty water bottle and a granola bar. No phone, no flashlight. Just Lila's scarf and the crushing truth. Evelyn hadn't just left her. She'd erased her. Back in Asheville, Evelyn stood in their kitchen, its granite counters gleaming under pendant lights. Lila, 19 and effortlessly cruel, scrolled her phone at the island, her manicured nails tapping. "Where's Nora?" she asked, not looking up. "Ran off," Evelyn said, pouring bourbon into a crystal glass. "For attention, like always." Her voice was smooth, practiced, as if she'd rehearsed the lie. Lila shrugged, thumbs flying over her screen. Nora's absence was a inconvenience, nothing more. The family's narrative held Nora, the broken one, always causing trouble. In the woods, a rustle jolted Nora upright. Footsteps, heavy and deliberate, crunched closer. She gripped the water bottle, a pitiful weapon. A figure emerged, tall in worn leather boots and a faded jacket. A man, maybe 30, his face shadowed by a baseball cap. He knelt, offering a metal canteen and a flannel jacket. His hands were calloused, his silence unnerving. "Who are you?" Nora's voice trembled. He didn't answer, just set the canteen beside her and built a small fire with twigs from the duffel. The flames cast flickering shadows, revealing a scar above his left eyebrow. He handed her a granola bar, his eyes avoiding hers, then stood and melted into the trees. No words, no name, just the crackle of fire and the weight of his gaze, lingering even after he was gone. Nora huddled by the flames, the flannel warm but heavy with questions. Why help her? Why vanish? The granola bar tasted like ash, but she forced it down, her stomach growling. Dawn was hours away, and the woods held no mercy. She thought of Evelyn's lie. Lila would believe it, maybe even spread it. Nora's existence was being rewritten, her voice silenced by a single calculated betrayal. Morning broke with birdsong. Carolina chickadees, their sharp calls cutting through the fog. Nora's limbs ached, her ankles swollen, but her resolve hardened. She was alive. She'd survived the night. Dragging herself from the blind, she scanned the clearing. The stranger's fire was cold, his boot prints faint in the frost. She clutched the canteen, its metal scratched but solid, and limped toward a faint trail, each step a gamble against collapse. A scrap of paper caught her eye, tucked under an oak's gnarled root. Her breath caught. It was a page from her old journal, a sketch of a cedar tree she'd drawn at 15, its lines smudged but unmistakable, scrawled in unfamiliar handwriting. "You deserved better. Keep moving." Her pulse raced. Someone had her journal, her private thoughts, her pain inked in shaky handwriting. She searched the ground, finding more pages, torn, burned, scattered like breadcrumbs. A doodle of a mountain. A poem about silence, each one hers, deliberately placed. "Who's doing this?" she whispered, the woods swallowing her words. Her ankle throbbed, but she followed the trail, driven by the need to know. The pages led to a stream, its water icy and clear, cutting through the Nantahala's granite bones. Another page floated against a rock. An unburned letter she'd written at 13, hidden in their attic after Evelyn called her useless. "One day I'll matter," it read, her younger self's defiance blazing through the ink. Nora's hands shook. Someone had found it. Someone had kept it. The stranger? Or someone else watching her life unfold, collecting her secrets like relics. She tucked the letter into the flannel, her mind racing. A narrow path veered from the stream, leading to an abandoned ranger station, its weathered sign reading, Pisgah National Forest, SD 1916. The door hung ajar, creaking in the wind. Inside, dust coated a desk littered with maps and a solar-powered laptop, its screen glowing faintly. Nora hesitated, then tapped the trackpad. A blog loaded, titled The Truth About Nora. Posts dated back 9 months, each one anonymous, defending her. She was never weak. They needed her to be. Another. Evelyn's lies won't hold. Nora's stronger than they know. Intimate details from her journal. Her fear of Evelyn's silences, her love for cedar trees, wove through the text. Someone had been watching, documenting her family's cruelty, her erasure. Nora's breath hitched. She scrolled, finding a post about a high school library volunteer, a quiet boy who'd admired her sketches. "Your trees feel alive," he'd said once, blushing. She'd forgotten his name. Evan? Eli? But his shy smile lingered. Could he be the stranger? The blogger? Fresh boot prints led from the station to the stream, and a shadow moved among the trees. Nora's heart pounded, not with fear, but recognition. She wasn't alone. The woods held her secrets, but they also held her protector. Someone had seen her, truly seen her, when her family had not. She limped toward the stream, the letter pressed against her chest. The figure in the trees didn't flee. He stepped forward, leather boots crunching, his scarred eyebrow catching the light. "You're still here," he said, voice low, familiar. And Nora knew her story wasn't over. It was just beginning. The ranger station's air was thick with dust, the laptop's faint hum a heartbeat in the silence. Nora's fingers hovered over the keyboard, the blog's words searing her mind. They needed her to be weak. Whoever wrote it knew her. Knew the dinner where Evelyn accused her of stealing $400, 0 cents. Lila's smirk as she hid the cash. The family's laughter as Nora's protests were drowned out. The memory stung, sharp as the wind, rattling the station's loose shingles. She clicked another post, dated 6 months ago. Nora's sketches are her voice. They'll outlast Evelyn's lies. Her throat tightened. Her journal, her sanctuary had been violated, yet whoever took it hadn't mocked her. They'd defended her. She glanced at the boot prints, still damp on the floorboards. The stranger was close, maybe watching even now. A creak from the porch snapped her head up. She froze, pulse thudding. The door swayed, revealing nothing but gray light and pines. "Hello?" Her voice cracked, barely audible. No answer, just the chickadees' chatter and the distant rush of the stream. She limped to the desk, grabbing a rusted letter opener for defense. Her ankle screamed, but fear pushed her forward. On the outside, the air was sharp, scented with pine and wet earth. The bootprints veered toward the stream, deeper into the Nantahella's maze. Nora hesitated. She was starving, dehydrated, her body a map of bruises. But the letter, "One day, all matter," burned in her pocket. She followed the prints, the trail narrowing as ferns brushed her legs. The stream glinted ahead, its banks littered with more journal pages. One caught on a branch, a sketch of the Asheville skyline she'd drawn at 16, the Biltmore spires, faint but proud. Scrawled in the same handwriting, "You're almost there." "Almost where?" she muttered, frustration flaring. The game, pages, notes. A silent protector felt like a taunt, yet it tethered her to hope. She knelt by the stream, splashing water on her face, its cold bite grounding her. A shadow flickered across the water. She spun, letter opener raised, but saw only trees. "Show yourself," she shouted, her voice stronger now, fueled by anger. The woods stayed silent, mocking her. Back in Asheville, Evelyn sipped her bourbon, the kitchen clock ticking toward noon. Lila, sprawled on the couch, posted a selfie on X, captioning it, "Drama-free day." Finally, Evelyn's phone buzzed. A neighbor asking about Nora. "She's visiting family," Evelyn lied, her smile practiced. The neighbor didn't push. Nora's absence was already fading, a ripple smoothed over by Evelyn's charm. Nora didn't know this, but she felt it. The erasure, the way her family rewrote her into nothing. She limped along the stream, finding another page. A poem about fireflies, written after a rare night when Evelyn let her sit on the porch. "They glow because they have to," she'd written. The note beside it, "So do you." Tears pricked her eyes, but she blinked them away. Crying was for the Nora who believed Evelyn might love her. This Nora, battered but breathing, was done waiting. The trail climbed, her ankle throbbing with each step. She leaned against a cedar, its bark rough under her palms, and remembered the library volunteer. Eli, she was sure now. He had lingered by her table, sketching his own trees, never pushing her to talk. "Your lines have soul," he'd said, then blushed and fled. She'd laughed, a rare sound even then. Could he have followed her life, tracked her pain, Become this stranger? The thought was absurd, yet it fit. The boots, the silence, the story untold. Hmm. A low hum broke her thoughts. Ahead, the trail opened to a clearing, a rusted radio tower looming over a shack. The hum came from a generator, its cables snaking to a satellite dish. Nora's heart raced. This was no abandoned outpost. Someone lived here, off-grid, hidden. The shack's door was locked, but a window showed a cluttered desk, maps, a radio, and her breath caught, a stack of her journal pages neatly bound. She circled the shack, finding a trapdoor under a tarp. It creaked open, revealing a ladder to a basement lit by a single bulb. She descended, let her opener clutch, her pulse a drumbeat. The air was damp, smelling of metal and earth. Shelves lined the walls, holding jars of preserves, ammo, and her stomach lurched. A corkboard pinned with photos. Her. At 14, wheeling through Asheville's River Arts District. At 17, sketching in the library. Recent shots, too. Her in the Jeep, hours before Evelyn's betrayal. "Who are you?" she whispered, fear and awe colliding. A notebook on the desk held typed entries. Evelyn's temper worsened today. Nora didn't flinch. Another. Lila's lies are bolder. Nora stronger than they know. It was the blog, printed, meticulous, a chronicle of her survival. Footsteps crunched above. Nora froze, trapped below ground. The trapdoor opened, and the stranger's silhouette filled the frame. "You found it," he said, voice low, familiar. He descended, boots heavy on the ladder, his face clear now. Eli, older, hardened, the scar above his eyebrow stark in the bulb's glow. "I didn't mean to scare you." "Why?" Nora's voice shook, the letter opener trembling in her hand. "Why all this?" "You bid." Eli knelt, keeping distance. "Because I saw you. Not the Nora they made you. The real one. Your sketches, your words. They kept me going when I had nothing." He gestured to the corkboard. "I couldn't let them erase you." Nora's mind reeled. Eli, the shy boy, had become her shadow, her silent protector, tracking her family's cruelty from Asheville's libraries to these woods. "You stole my journal," she said, anger flaring. "Borrowed," he corrected, eyes steady. "To prove you're not what they say. The blog. It's for you, when you're ready, to show the world." She wanted to scream, to hate him for invading her life, but the letter in her pocket, the notes, the fire he'd built, they weren't lies. They were proof she mattered. "Evelyn's coming back," she said, testing him. "She'll find me." Eli's jaw tightened. "She won't. I heard her on the radio, Trucker's channel. She's telling people you ran off. She's done with you." The words landed like a fist, but Nora didn't crumble. She looked at Eli, at the corkboard, at the life he'd preserved when her family discarded it. "What now?" she asked, voice steady. He stood, offering a hand. "We keep moving. You decide who Nora is." Outside, the Nantahala stretched, vast and unforgiving, but Nora felt no fear. She took Eli's hand, the letter opener clattering to the floor. The woods had taken her secrets, her pain, her past. Now, they'd give her a future. Nora's boots crunched on the frost-slick trail, her breath puffing in the cold as she followed Eli's shadow through the Nantahala's maze. The stranger, Eli, her quiet high school ally turned silent protector, moved with purpose, his leather jacket catching faint moonlight. Her ankle throbbed, but the journal pages, Thomas's letter, and Eli's corkboard of her life fueled her. She wasn't the Nora Evelyn had discarded. Not anymore. The woods thinned, revealing a cracked asphalt road. Old Route 25, a forgotten vein near Asheville. Nora's heart raced. civilization, but also exposure. Eli paused, scanning the dark. Town's half a mile, he said, voice low. You sure? Nora clutched Lila's scarf, now frayed from the night's ordeal. I need to see them. Her family. She had to know if Evelyn's lie. Nora ran off, held. Ellie nodded, his scar glinting as he led her toward lights flickering through the pines. A quaint pocket north of Asheville glowed under sodium street lamps. Its main street, lined with brick storefronts and American flags, felt like a postcard Nora didn't belong in. The Blue Ridge Diner's neon sign buzzed, casting red light on a scene that stopped her cold. Through the window, Evelyn sat in a booth, laughing over a burger. Lila, smirking, scrolled her phone. Greg, Evelyn's boyfriend, leaned back, smug, while Ethan, his son, tossed fries. They were untouched, unbothered, their joy a blade in Nora's chest. She pressed against the diner's brick wall, her breath shallow. They didn't report me missing, she whispered, the truth crystallizing. Evelyn hadn't just abandoned her. She'd erased her, banking on the woods to swallow her whole. Eli's hand grazed her shoulder, steadying her. You're still here, he said, echoing his words from the shack. A figure in the booth shifted. Sadie, Nora's cousin, sat at the table's edge, her face pale, their eyes locked through the glass. Sadie's lips formed a silent, I'm sorry, before she looked away, guilt etching her features. Nora's stomach lurched. Sadie knew. She'd been part of the plan, complicit in Evelyn's cruelty. The diner's warmth mocked Nora as she stumbled back, the world tilting. Eli guided her to an empty bus shelter across the street, its plastic bench cold against her thighs. She sank down, clutching the flannel jacket he'd given her. Maybe I should let them win, she whispered, the words bitter. Evelyn's lie was airtight. Nora, the troubled runaway, gone for attention. Who would believe her? A bus hissed to a stop, its door creaking open. The driver, a woman with gray-streaked braids and a name tag reading Marla, stepped out. Without a word, she draped a wool blanket over Nora's shoulders. You look like you're carrying the world, kid, Marla said, her voice soft but firm. Don't let it crush you. She climbed back into the bus and drove off, leaving Nora with the blanket's warmth and a spark of defiance. She wasn't done. Dawn painted the sky pink as Nora reached a women's shelter in Asheville, a low brick building tucked behind a Baptist church. A volunteer, her badge reading Clara, offered oatmeal and a towel for a shower. Nora ate in silence, giving her name as Jane. Trust was a luxury she couldn't afford. The hot water stung her bruises, washing away dirt but not the ache of Sadie's betrayal. Clean, she slipped into donated jeans and a sweater, Lila's scarf tucked into her pocket like a talisman. Wandering Asheville's streets, Nora passed murals and buskers, the city's artsy pulse alien to her now. A bookstore, the Page Haven, drew her in, its cedar shelves and leather-bound scent a refuge. She browsed, her fingers tracing spines, when the clerk, an elderly man with wire-rimmed glasses, peered at her. You're Nora, he said, not a question. Her pulse spiked. Your father, Thomas, left something for you. He led her to a back room, unlocking a safe. From it, he pulled a parcel wrapped in brown paper, labeled in Thomas's slanted handwriting. For Nora, when she's ready. Nora's hands trembled as she unwrapped it, revealing a leather journal. Inside, letters and sketches spilled out. Cedar trees, her favorite, drawn with Thomas's precise lines. She sank to the floor, reading. October 2015. Evelyn says you're not ready to see me, but I'm fighting, Nora. You're my heart. March 2017, she blocked my number. I sent letters to the house. Did you get them? June 2019. I'm sick, but I'll never stop trying. You're stronger than her lies. Thomas's words filled the gaps Evelyn had carved. He'd never abandoned her. He'd been erased, just like her. A sketch of her at 10, laughing under a cedar, blurred as tears fell. "He loved me," she whispered. The bookstore's quiet, holding her grief. She left the Page Haven, Thomas's journal clutched to her chest. At a cafe on Biltmore Avenue, she ordered coffee, her first taste of freedom. On a napkin, she wrote 3 words: begin again. Remember. They were a vow, a map forward. Weeks blurred. Nora moved to Boone, a mountain town 90 miles from Asheville, renting a studio above a laundromat for $400, 0 cents a month. The print shop job, running presses for flyers and menus, was steady, her coworkers kind but distant. Nights she painted, her brush a weapon. The silent wall emerged, a girl behind glass, mouth open in a scream no one heard. She poured Evelyn's cruelty, Lila's smirks, Sadie's silence into it, submitting it to an Asheville gallery under ND22. She braced for rejection. The gallery opening buzzed with Asheville's elite, fairy lights twinkling over wine and cheese. Nora, in a thrift store dress, lingered in the crowd, unrecognizable with her hair cropped short. Evelyn and Leela milled nearby, critiquing art with practiced disdain. "This one's amateur," Leela said, eyeing the silent wall. Evelyn nodded, oblivious. The host, a woman in a silk blazer, took the mic. "Next, The Silent Wall by Nora Delaney." A wine glass shattered. Evelyn's, her face ashen. Lila froze, her phone slipping. Whispers rippled as Nora stepped forward, heart pounding but steady. "You said no one would hear my story," she said, voice clear, eyes locked on Evelyn. Tonight, they stared at it for 15 minutes. The room stilled, every eye on her. Evelyn stammered, "Nora, you..." But Nora turned, walking into the snow-flecked night. She didn't need their excuses. For the first time, she felt seen. Not as the broken girl, but as Nora, unbroken. Emails flooded her inbox. A therapist wanting to feature her work. A pro bono lawyer offering to sue Evelyn. Survivors thanking her for her courage. A TikTok of her reveal, posted by a gallery goer, hit 2.1 million views in 36 hours. Comments poured in, "She didn't paint this, she lived it." Nora scrolled, her chest tight with gratitude and grief. A cryptic email stopped her cold. Subject, case reopened. The sender, anonymous, attached a photo. 13-year-old Nora in a hospital gown, waiting for a nurse after a fall. Evelyn never explained. "CPS is listening now." The email read, "Keep shining." Nora's hands shook. Someone? Ellie? Sadie? Had tipped off Child Protective Services, unearthing her past. Rummaging through her duffel, Nora found a battered iPod, a relic from high school. A voice memo, buried in its files, crackled to life. Evelyn's voice, cold and deliberate. "You're nothing. No one cares." Nora's breath hitched, the words a fresh wound. She uploaded the memo to X, no caption, letting Evelyn's cruelty speak. Within hours, it spread, users tagging Asheville PD, demanding justice. A journalist knocked on her studio door, notepad in hand. "Your story's inspiring," she said. Nora smiled, gentle but firm. "I'm not ready to talk. I'm living." She closed the door, protecting her peace. The gallery called. The Silent Wall would hang permanently in their Asheville branch. Nora exhaled, the weight lifting. In Charlotte, she led an art workshop for kids, her first step into giving back. A girl, maybe 10, showed her a drawing, a figure hiding in shadows. "She's scared," the girl whispered. Nora handed her yellow paint. "Give her a son," she said. The girl smiled, brushing light onto the canvas. Nora's heart swelled. She was no longer the girl in shadows. Under a clear Carolina sky, Nora stood on her studio's balcony, Boone's Mountains framing her. Her silence, once a cage, was now a shield. Her story, a beacon. She opened Thomas's journal, reading his last entry. "You'll find your way, Nora. I believe in you." She smiled. Free. But the story wasn't done. The cryptic email gnawed at her. CPS is listening. Who sent it? Eli, still out there, his radio tower humming in the Nantahala? Sadie, seeking redemption? Or someone new, lurking in Asheville's shadows, watching her rise? The photo? Her at 13, bruised and waiting, hinted at evidence Evelyn couldn't bury. Nora's past wasn't just hers anymore. It was a case, a reckoning. She drove to Asheville, the Blue Ridge Parkway's curves familiar now. At the Page Haven, the clerk handed her a sealed envelope, left by a friend. Inside, a single Polaroid, the hunting blind where Evelyn abandoned her, time-stamped that night. Scrawled on the back, "I saw everything." Nora's pulse raced. A witness. Someone had been there, maybe even before Eli found her. Back in Boone, she pinned the Polaroid to her wall next to the Silent Walls sketch. Her phone buzzed. An ex-post tagged her. Nora Delaney's family under investigation. Evelyn D. questioned by CPS. Comments exploded. Justice for Nora. Her hands trembled, not with fear but power. Evelyn's lie was unraveling. Yet, danger lingered. A late-night knock startled her. No one there. Just a note slipped under her door. "Stop digging, or you'll regret it." The handwriting wasn't Evelyn's, but it reeked of her control. Greg? Ethan? Someone paid to silence her? Nora locked the door, her resolve hardening. They'd tried to erase her once. They wouldn't succeed again. She emailed the lawyer, attaching the note, the Polaroid, the CPS email. "I'm ready to fight," she wrote. The reply was swift. "We'll build your case. Stay safe." Nora nodded, alone but not lonely. Tomas's journal lay open, his cedar sketch a reminder. She was rooted, unbreakable. At the gallery, the silent wall drew crowds, its scream echoing. A girl, maybe 16, lingered, tears on her cheeks. "This is me," she whispered. Nora hugged her, no words needed. Her art wasn't just hers, it was theirs, the silenced, the erased. She'd painted her pain, but also her power. Snow fell again, dusting Boone's streets. Nora walked to the print shop, her breath visible, her steps sure. A new painting stirred in her mind. A cedar tree, its branches reaching, a girl stepping free. She'd call it Unsilenced. The world was listening now, and Nora Delaney was done hiding.